What's going on, guys? So today's video is kind of a sad one because I just discovered something that was wrong with a component on my truck, and unfortunately this is pretty common, and I don't know if it's just common on Ford, but it could be common on a lot of other brands that utilize the same component. So this is going to be a video that you may not want to miss if you have a similar component in your truck. Hang tight, I'll be right back. All right, so something that is becoming more and more common on pickup trucks and SUVs is a panoramic sunroof. If you all recall, when I had my 2017 F450 dually King Ranch, I only had it for about a month. One of the big gripes I had against that truck was the fact that I was having a rattling sound coming from the dual pane sunroof. Let's step on top so you can see what I'm talking about. So this is the dual pane sunroof that is optional, and I guess even standard in some cases on a lot of new trucks, simply because you opt for a certain package and they really don't give you a way to remove it as far as an option. This specific truck, I've had absolutely no issues with rattling or creaking or any of the sounds that drove me nuts in my F450. However, about a month ago, we were taking a drive and I decided to open up the sunroof. I hadn't opened it in a while, and it wouldn't open. It would sound like it was trying, but then it wouldn't open at all. So I got on top and I was trying to look to see what I could see from there. I looked underneath the headliner to see also what was there, and I couldn't figure out what could be going on. Now from under here, you can see this is a big cloth cover, and it kind of rolls back when you open it, and you can see the track system whenever you pull it back, and I couldn't see anything that might be wrong, so I just figured it might be jammed. And I messed with it, I hit the button several times, and it eventually made a really loud popping noise, and it opened. But that kind of concerned me, because anytime you hear a really loud popping noise, you know, it can mean a couple of different things, but oftentimes it means that something broke. Well, I started doing research on the forums to figure out what might the issue be. And what a lot of people said is when you run these trucks through car washes or you wash them in general and you get soap on them, soap can get in this little seal around here and essentially harden and make it very difficult for the glass to open. And that's what I thought it could be. So I washed the seal out really well, and I took a little credit card with some soapy water on it, and I ran it through the seal just to kind of lubricate the seal and get it a little bit moist so it was able to open without jamming. It seemed to have fixed the problem for a short period of time. Well, I came out about 2 weeks later, tried to open it, and I got a very different initial response. Essentially, when I tried to open it, it opened, and about halfway back it made a really loud popping noise. So I was able to close it, and I decided I'm just not going to open this thing anymore until I can get it to a dealership to figure out what the issue may be. So some folks said that a way to kind of lubricate the seal here and a semi-permanent fix would be to get this really expensive lubricant oil that you could put in the channel to essentially condition the seal in a way that it would never bind up again. And I purchased that. It was like $50 for this tiny little vial of oil with a little pointy, almost like a syringe style applicator that I put all the way around the edge of that today. So that was something I did today. I've had the oil for a while, but I decided to kind of tackle this problem today. One of the challenges is when you take on a problem like this, you have to make sure it's not going to rain, because if I can't get my sunroof closed, then of course I have to find a way to seal up the top. So I applied the oil first. I let it soak for about 30 minutes. I came back with a credit card and I essentially pressed it into the seal area to see if that would help. After doing that, I got in the truck, I opened and closed the sunroof and then retracted the sunroof back, and it seemed to be working fine until I tried to close it. It got to about this point and it just went back, almost as if it had the safety mechanism activate to where if you have something blocking it, it would open up again. So it would close to here and then it would open up again. And after about 5 or 6 attempts, it finally closed all the way. So again, I thought, you know, something's going on. What could it be? I opened up the sunroof and I looked at all the channels on the side, and they were filthy. So I took a rag, took some nice damp soapy water, and I cleaned out everything around the actual rails. I put some spray lubrication in there as well to kind of grease up the components to make sure that everything was free moving. And then I took a really long screwdriver with a rag on the end and some cleaning solution, and I kind of stuffed it back in this area underneath this panel, because this panel is static, it doesn't move. I pushed it back as far as I could, pulled it out, and out came a small piece of plastic, a broken piece of plastic that was just sitting in the channel here whenever I pulled that rag back out. So something broke apparently the first time I did it when I heard that loud pop, or even the second time. I'm gonna have to take this to the dealership to find out what it could be. But the story here is you need to maintain the channels that your sunroof rides on. You need to make sure dirt and grime doesn't get in there, because even though it's closed, those channels were filthy. They were absolutely filthy, and I cleaned out a lot of dirt from those channels. Just something you want to keep a close eye on, because if it builds up too much, it could really inhibit the ability for your panel to open up and close, causing it to bind and causing something to break. And I imagine the same people who build this system build it for all the manufacturers. So this is something that could potentially happen to other trucks. So I just wanted to make a quick kind of public service announcement about that. Something for you to keep an eye on. Be sure, especially if you have a newer truck, open this up every now and then, clean the dirt out underneath here, make sure nothing is obstructing the channel from allowing your sunroof to open and close.